hey, how can I invest if I'm not accredited?
We had to turn a lot of people away. They were like, hey, we want to get into this deal. How do we get in?
These are the high tax savings deals that we're doing for this year.
Hi, everyone. Vinny here with WCG Investments, and I'm joined by Tim and Matthias. And today we're doing something a little different. This webinar is really about one thing, and it's opening the door for more people to invest with us. Up until now, our deals have been primarily available to accredited investors. And we've had a lot of conversations, messages, emails, but one-on-one conversations when people ask, hey, how can I invest if I'm not accredited? And up to now, the answer is unfortunately you can't, because our deals for SEC regulations are for accredited investors only. So today we're breaking that down and introducing a new path forward through our partnership with Fractional. And we'll walk you through what that means and how it works and what to expect. With that said, I'm going to start with you, Tim. Why is it important for us to create a pathway for non-accredited investors?
Yeah, thanks, Vinny. There's so many people that we have to turn away because legally our fund structure and our past syndications have only been a 506c, which means only accredited investors. There's a decent amount of people who hit us up, who we have conversations with, who email us, and they want to invest, but because of that 506c SEC limitation on it, we could only take accredited. And we've been exploring, like, how can we allow people who are not accredited to invest in these great deals that we have. I'm super excited. I was talking to Stella at the Boardroom Mastermind in Dallas, and she was just telling me the ins and outs of it. And I was like, this is what we need to do. This is how we can open up our opportunities to more people who are interested. So yeah, man, I'm excited.
And it sounds really awesome because, again, we've had multiple conversations with people that want to invest. So, Tim, what exactly is Fractional and what role do they play here with WCG Investments?
Fractional, it does the investment club model. And when I was talking to Stella, she said they went to the former head, I believe, of the SEC to make sure that this was all above board. And so it's an investment club. And so all of the people who are putting money in, they're all club members. We are the club leaders, and everyone's voting, making sure, like, okay, do we want to put the money into this deal? And at the same time, they're reviewing the monthly newsletters that we send out, and they are part of quarterly calls, big decision making, stuff like that. So it's a really neat way of allowing deals to open up to people who weren't able to participate in the past. In terms of the actual nuts and bolts, I would definitely defer to Kyle and Stella Fractional to say, like, how it works. But yeah, it's just a really neat platform.
And just so you guys know, we had a webinar with Fractional. So we'll add the link to that webinar below so you guys can click on it. You can register and watch the recording where we discuss further details on the partnership with Fractional. So yeah, Matthias, if someone is watching this and thinking, okay, I'm interested, what does that actually look like for them?
Yeah, thanks, Vinny. Very similar to what we did in the past, right? So in the past, our investors went to Cashflow Portal and did their soft commitments, etc. In this case, it's a different platform, right? It's right on Fractional. You put in the amount you're interested in investing, and there's like an initial fee that has to be paid and stuff like that. And it goes through individual steps of what needs to get done. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you watch the webinar from Kyle, actually goes through all of these steps at the end of the webinar, and it's really super simple, arguably even simpler than what we did on Cashflow Portal, because it's not SEC regulated in a sense, because we're looking at like kind of like a JV partnership, like Tim explained, if that makes sense, with the investment clubs. Very similar to what we did in the past, but a little bit different. So if there's anybody needing help with the sign up, feel free to reach out. So of course, we can help you and guide you in the right direction to Kyle at Fractional, help you out getting signed up there.
Yeah, thank you, Matthias. So something that's down your alley, it's operations, right? So how does this change how we operate or the types of deals that we do?
Nothing at all, really. The buy box is still the same. Acquisitions-wise, nothing would change. Operationally, nothing would change. We're aiming for the same returns like we do in our fund or even the syndications in the past. So for us, it's just not too in the tool belt and open up our great assets to non-accredited investors. Because in the very beginning, we did the non-accredited investors, and then at some point we switched to only accredited investors only, which of course shut down the investments to our non-accredited investor base. And this fractional tool is opening this up again for our non-accredited investors. So like we mentioned earlier in this webinar, we had to turn a lot of people away. They were like, hey, we want to get into this deal. How do we get in? And then of course, fractional is a great tool for that. And now we can kind of work in parallel with our accredited investors investing in our funds, but also in parallel, fractional can invest into the same deal with the investment club of our non-accredited investors, which is a beautiful scenario. So we're actually broadening our investor base significantly with this, but we don't have to operate the deal differently. It makes capital raising for us easier, which is great, and broadens the exposure to our investor base. So I'm super excited to get that started because I think it's a win-win for everybody, for the investors and for us.
Yeah, and something you touched on is that if you are accredited, hey, we have a fund and you can just invest with us directly. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We are providing a 7% pref for investment up to $250,000 and a 9% pref for anything above $250,000. So far, we've seen some interest on the 9% pref. So if you have any questions about that, just reach out and we can answer them for you. Tim, why now, right? Why make this move and this partnership with Fractional at this stage?
Yeah, well, first I just want to highlight, we had someone who wanted to put in $150,000, and then when they saw that you get a 9 pref for 250 and over, they changed to 250. So, I mean, that's a big difference. It just makes me realize like we did the right thing in terms of making it super sweet for people who are willing and able to put in. So why now? We've been discussing, and this deal on Fractional, this Alabama deal, and then this fund as well, we're probably going to be keeping the fund very small to this deal. So once closed and full, that's going to be it. And what's important for this is that these are the high tax savings deals that we're doing for this year. We're very focused on, of course, we look for all the usual stuff we look for, but at the same time, this Alabama deal and the other deal that we're projecting, they're going to have way higher tax savings, dollar for dollar tax savings than our usual deals. So if saving money on taxes is important to you, get in on this deal. Don't wait, because once it's full, it's full. And, we're very first come, first serve. It's not going to get better than that, than these deals for this year. So don't wait.
That's a really good point. It is first come, first serve. Last year, deal at the end of the year last year, it was full and people wanted to get in. And unfortunately, we had to say, no, you have to wait for the next one. So if you're interested, ask the questions now. That way you don't miss on this one.
We had to return someone's money too, I think. They just got to put in some money hoping that they could get through, and we're like, no, unfortunately we can't do that.
It was a very interesting scenario where the soft commitment was a certain amount, and what showed up on the bank account was probably triple. And we had to say, sorry, we have to give this money back. Nice try.
And then on top of that, this deal's even sweeter than that deal. So
Yeah.
I mean, wait if you want to, but I don't want Vinny to have to return your money too. So maybe think about that.
So this was a brief webinar. We just want to share the good news that we're opening up to, 506Bs, non-accredited. We have a pathway for that. Any last minute comments there, Matthias?
No, I'm just super excited about getting Fractional on board with us, and then just review the webinar. We went through a lot of detail, not only how Fractional work, but also about the deal. This deal, like Tim says, better than the last one that we had. It's super high cash flow, so it's a super safe deal. The DSCR is over 1.7 right out of the gate on day one, before any rent increases, before any value add strategies are deployed. Super excited about this one. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with this deal, and we going through that in the webinar. So watch that webinar. We're gonna go through like worst case scenarios. Even if the whole business plan stalls, we still have a very solid return. So I'm extremely excited for this new deal. So check it out and then don't wait. I think this will fill up really quickly.
Tim, last minute comments.
Can I just, say what Matthias just said?
Yeah, that was like a quick little commercial there, Matthias. That was nice.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Right. Buy one, get one free.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. As always, we really appreciate you guys for watching. This is really just the beginning. If you have been following us and waiting for the opportunity to invest, this may be your entry point. The link to the webinar with Fractional will be right below. So feel free to click on that and watch it and reach out and ask questions. We're here to answer them. Thank you so much for joining us. We value your time. We appreciate you spending time with us. So until next time, we'll keep you updated. Thank you for joining and have a great one.
Thanks, everyone.